What's going on, everybody? We are back. We had a little break from obviously the last fight night, which was a very interesting card, but we did pretty decent on that card, to be honest with you. We actually hit a live bet in the Discord. It was, I think, plus 700 or plus 650 with Mearcharp, second round sub. We hit it live, which was good. Also, Mackenzie hit her lock of the week, so we had a decent week. Then we had a week off, and now we are back with a very better than average. I say it's a better than average card. We have a lot going on, though, before we get into that. We have football obviously starting this week, which I'm super excited about. I'm sure all you guys are super excited about it. We have a promo going on at the site at themadlabmma.com. Obviously, you know we're flagshipped for our MMA content. We give the best detailed analysis. Whether it's right or wrong, we're giving you the best steps of both sides. Full DFS, Discord, wagers. So now what we do have is we have NFL. And we have a group of guys that are doing the NFL. I'm actually one of them. We have something that we developed called the Roster Bully tool, which is not a white label product. This is a product that we built in-house. It does not coincide with your optimizers or anything like that, so it doesn't upload directly into DraftKings. This is merely a tool that it's a chart and it generates all different ways. You can filter it all different ways, from positions to rankings, to our favorite sleeper plays, to fantasy point projections. Filtered all by position, all different ways you could do it. It's a phenomenal tool. It's a tool, especially if you're a hand builder, you absolutely need to have it. It's like a cheat code. So definitely, without a doubt, come over and check us out. You're getting that absolutely free with your MMA subscription. So I mean, what is the issue with joining for a month to see if you like our site, and you're getting MMA and you're getting NFL for free for a month? If you like it, you stay. If you don't like it, you go. So come down and check us out. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's giving a sport like football for free, especially with the amount of detail that we put in. We got about 4 or 5 guys doing the content, from DFS to wagers to consensus plays. Contrarian Corner with Derek. We got J-Mac aboard. A bunch of guys giving wagers. Me with the Roster Bully tool and value plays. Like, it's just you're getting all that for free with a great MMA product. So come down and check us out, themadlabmma.com. There is no promo code needed. All right, so let's jump into this card. Like I said, it's an above-average main card. You know what I mean? It's above average main card. Nothing that you're blowing your hair back with. I didn't see crazy amount of value from a wagering perspective, but I really didn't dive into the props just yet. So we're going to break down the fights. I'll give you my leans, and then, like I said, we will have one wager given on this, which is Mackenzie's dog pick of the week, or Mackenzie's lock of the week, I should say. And she'll reveal that when she's ready. All right, so Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady is obviously the main event. This is a fight, honestly, where when you're looking at both of these guys, and you're looking at both of their paths to victory here, their pros and their cons. You're looking at a guy in Gilbert Burns who, I wouldn't say he's defining the odds of like the sands of time. I mean, he's not that old, but he's getting up there. And the guy's been in some wars, but he's also proven that this is a guy who can jump in the fire with the best of them and win, as well as just give a great account of himself. I mean, he's been in there with the best of the best, and he's hung with everybody. High pedigree, third-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Not a lot of people like to tangle with him on the ground. The problem I do have with him is he fell in love with his hands, which a lot of fighters do. They forget, like, kind of what got them there. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say that he has done that totally, but he's done a pretty good job of forgetting that he's a grappler first before a striker. When you get that first knockout, or you go through a string of knockouts, it's almost like if you guys played baseball or you guys played football. In baseball, if you hit that ball perfectly, it doesn't even shake your hands. It doesn't even rattle your hands. It just feels like a soft touch going off the bat, the ball goes. If you hit somebody clean in football, there's like no rattle. It was just a perfect shot. It almost feels like it's a different kind of a feeling when you know you hit something or someone perfectly. The same thing with boxing, the same thing with MMA. When you hit somebody with a really, really clean shot right on the button, it doesn't feel like you really had to wind up. It doesn't feel like you had to put everything into it. You just hit them at the perfect spot. And when you get a taste of that, it does become addicting. It becomes like you're craving that again. You're craving a highlight reel. You're craving to get the bonus because it's incentive based. So a lot of these fighters do fall into that. Now, when you're looking at the resume of Gilbert Burns, you're looking at, all right, he's got 3 losses in his last 5, but look who he's losing to: jacked out JDM, Bilal Muhammad, which that fight is aging really well. The loss, he beat Jorge Masvidal, he beat Neil Magny. Nothing to really blow your hair back with that. Lost to Kazmat, but that was a war. That was a war. But here's the problem here. A lot of people are looking at the Kazmat fight. They're leaning on that, and they're saying, well, when he fought Kazmat, look what he did with Kazmat. Like, why can't he beat Brady? And I'm not saying he can't beat Brady, but you can't lean on that as much as you are. You just can't. It was a couple years ago. It was probably the best camp I've ever seen him in. I've never seen him that clocked in for a camp. He almost felt like severely disrespected in that camp. And I followed that camp. Like, he pushed himself to the very, very brink. Like, it was a do or die, dire situation for him. So he fought amazing, and he almost won that fight. But he did lose the fight. Had a great fight against Stephen Thompson before that. He lost to Kamaru Usman, beat Tyron Woodley. The guy is beaten and lost to nothing but good fighters. But here's the thing now: when you got a guy that he's fighting who is a guy like Sean Brady, who is 7 years younger, he's taking less damage. He's also a black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, high-level black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit more snappier, a little bit more explosive, more, the fresher fighter. The only thing we haven't really seen from him is that real hardcore 5-round experience. We haven't seen him in the 4th round. We haven't seen him in the 5th round. So we really are throwing darts when we're saying, well, if it goes to the 4th and 5th round, he's gonna drown him. No, you can't really say that. You can say that about Gilbert Burns. You really can't say that about him. But when you're looking at his overall body of work too, Kevin Gastelum, Kimura by submission. His only loss was Bilal Muhammad, which is aging very well. Beat Michael Chiesa, Jake Matthews. I mean, the kid is good. The kid is good. We've seen him tire out. We've seen him have a little lapse in concentration, lapse in game plan against Bilal. Knocking him out. Bilal knocking him out was interesting because Bilal doesn't knock anybody out. So people are kind of down on Brady a little bit because of that. But I got to go Brady here. I don't like the price. I don't like that minus 185 price tag. I think that's a little disrespectful to someone like Burns for everything that he's accomplished, for the 5-round experience that he does have. But I'm going to go with youth here. I'm going to go with the explosion here. I'm going to go with the fresher fighter here in Brady to get this one done in a close fight. Next one, Jessica Andrade and Natalia Silva. This fight is really interesting to me because Natalia Silva is like a minus 300 favorite in this one. And I don't get it. When you look at Jessica Andrade, you're looking at somebody who's 32 years old, and we kind of grew up with her, right? If you really think about it, if you're watching this for a long time, we kind of grew up with a certain amount of fighters. We grew up with the Max Holloways when we seen him, like we kind of raised him in a way, if you think about it. Like we saw all his growing pains. The same thing with Jessica Andrade, only 32 years old. It feels like she's been fighting for decades. We kind of watched her grow, and this is somebody who, people look at her and are like, it's Jessica Andrade. She's older now. No, she's not. She's 32 years old. Now, I get it. In fighting years, it's a little bit different. She's 26-12. She's been up and down. She's been the champion. She's had some bad losses, had some great wins. She's been in some great wars. But if you're talking about age and you're talking about her getting older and her being washed, like that's a ridiculous thing. There is something to be said about her not being as fresh. There's something to be said about maybe the game is starting to pass her up a little bit, because it does happen when you're a certain kind of fighter like Jessica Andrade, where she's got that real Joe Frazier kind of come forward style where she's looking to hunt you down and knock you out. This newer generation of fighter now is a little bit more nimble. They got better boxing underneath them. They got a few more tricks up their sleeve. They're kind of, they're taking the game to the next level. So when you're getting these younger fighters now coming in, you got that come forward Joe Frazier style, you can kind of get lost in the mix a little bit. And that's the people that she will lose to. The people that she will beat are the people that have that old school traditional MMA style, that traditional wrestling. People who just, lean on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, people who want to sit in the pocket and strike with her. Those are the people that she will do again. But when you get somebody like this, like Natalia Silva, who is athletic, she's fresh, she's 27, she's nimble on her feet, she's got a very slick grappling game. These are the type of people that Jessica Andrade couldn't have trouble with, because I could see her charging the pocket. I could see her making a mistake. I could see her clipping Natalia Silva without a doubt. But at minus 300, do I think Natalia Silva is a minus 300? Going to look minus 300 in there? I mean, I think she could, but chances are, like, you would never take that bet. Like, if you take Natalia Silva at minus 300 against Jessica Andrade, I think it's crazy. I am picking her to win the fight. Like I said, I think this is just a progression of the game. I think that she's more athletic. I think she's just a little bit more nimble. I think she's got a very sneaky grappling game. If Andrade does try to take her down or try to play bully ball with her, she has a litany of ways that she could sub you. And I also think that she's just going to be crafty enough to kind of play Matador with Jessica Andrade in there. But Jessica Andrade finds ways to win, like she does. She finds ways to put you in a corner. She finds ways to put you in bad situations. She finds ways to wait with patience until maybe she starts seeing that you're showing a little kink in your armor, you're getting a little bit tired, and then she starts coming on. You know, you can't sleep on her and look at her like an old fighter because she's, like I said, she's 32 years old. I understand numerical is much different than fighting, but at the end of the day, the lighter fighters, you know, they tend to last a little bit longer, especially in women's MMA where the damage isn't so congruent. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go Natalia Silva here. I think that she wins the fight. I think that she can kind of not coast to a win, but I think that she could utilize her athletic ability and her counter striking ability and her grappling ability to keep her safe and maybe go onto the offense, maybe sub her or catch her with something. But that minus 300, I just don't think it would. I wouldn't even really tie it into a parlay. I think Jessica Andrade is very dangerous no matter who she fights. She only loses to really good fighters. So this is a step up for Natalia Silva. Next fight, Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson. You know, who would have thunk this, really? When you're looking at Steve Garcia, this is a guy who, honestly, when I first saw him, I was like, you know, what is he doing here? Like, what is this guy even doing in the UFC? He does not long for the UFC. He will not long for the UFC. And listen, I'm a transparent guy. I'm not the type of guy that's going to be like, told you. Like, when I'm wrong about something, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong about it. I was wrong about Darren Till. I thought that was the one thing that I always say was probably my worst read since I've been doing this, and it was Darren Till. I bought into his physique. I bought into that striker's body. I bought into you know, just his range and you know, his ability to strike. And I said all he needs to do is learn how to, you know, stuff a takedown and get a little wrestling under his belt, kind of well-rounded his game. This guy can be dangerous. And I was completely wrong about him. I was completely wrong about him because he just never evolved. He never tried to evolve. So maybe he could have been what I thought he had the potential to be, but it just never unfolded that way for him. So this is a guy where I'm not really, it's not on that level, but I really was telling people, like, Steve Garcia, he's not long for the UFC. Like, he's going to be a flash in the pan. He's going to be in and out. And lo and behold, here he is. He lost his first fight in the UFC. He comes back, he wins. He comes back, he loses against Masha Tate. Now he goes on a 4-fight win streak, all by knockout. So, like, at one point in time, do we start taking Steve Garcia seriously? You know what I mean? And do I take him seriously? Yes, I do. I take him seriously now, but I just think he's overperforming. I really, really do. I think that he's going to end up getting to that bracket where you're going to see, like, okay, that's Steve Garcia. That's who he is. You know, when you're looking at the guy, he's fought Nurmagomedov, Chase Hooper, like, yeah, these are all right guys. They're not bad, but let's face it, he fought Chase Hooper in 2022 when Chase Hooper was, like, really not even developed yet. Nurmagomedov, good win. Costa, Wu, like, yeah, they're okay wins. They're decent, but he's going to eventually fight a guy or fight a level of guy that they're not going to fall for his tricks. They're not going to get baited into these firefights. They're not going to get, you know, into the phone booth where you get it. And that's where I think he's eventually going to be exposed. If they keep feeding him these B and C level guys, then yeah, he's got an opportunity to win the fight. But in a fight like this, where I think Kyle Nelson, you know, this is another guy who showed me. He proved me wrong in his last fight. I had him losing to my boy. What's his name? Oh, God. Actually, me and Mackenzie were both wrong on this, but Bill Algeo. I thought Algeo had his number. I really did. I thought Algeo was going to come in. I thought he was going to pick him apart. I thought he was going to, you know, just not outclass him, but just, you know, outmaneuver him in spots. You know what I mean? And I was wrong, and he ended up knocking Algeo out in the first round and hurt him numerous times in fashion. He looked fantastic. But here's the thing now. He had a little bit of a layoff. before that fight, and now he's coming back in to fight a guy in Garcia who's been ultimately pretty active, right? And when you're looking at, when you're looking at Nelson here with a little bit of layoff and coming in, what kind of a sample size have we really seen from him? He looked great in the one round that he fought Algio, but it ended in one round. So, like, we really can't pigeonhole, like, okay, well, how much gas does he have? You know, how good is his conditioning? How good is his chin? You know, does he start unraveling, you know, in the second and third round? Now, the sample size was it was a great sample size, but it wasn't enough. Where with Garcia, we could kind of say the same thing about him. Like, let's be honest, we kind of say the same thing about him. His last 4 wins, they all came by way of knockout. Now, mind you, that small sample size, even though it's 4 wins by knockout, he's obviously telling you, look, man, I got power. But these two, first round, second round, first round. Then he lost first round. He won second round. Like, we don't see like these huge sample size of him going deeper either. Like, what does he look like in the third round? He hasn't had to, and that's great for him. But this is a fight where I just think, from a technical standpoint, Nelson might be a little bit better than him. This might be the fight where we see Garcia like kind of come down to earth a little bit, you know. And I know the odds are in Garcia's favor. I know that Nelson, I think, is like a plus 155 or something like that. And listen, I can make a excuse for both guys winning this fight. But I think if you're looking for a dog, to play, he's not Kyle Nelson's not a terrible dog. I think this could be a situation where he does kind of expose Garcia, or he gets exposed. I could see Garcia knocking him out too, but I do see Nelson just a little bit more technical, not confusing Garcia, but kind of keeping up with him, and just utilizing some of his wrestling, switching things up, and winning that fight. So I'm gonna take the dog there. I'll go Kyle Nelson. Next one is Matt Schnell. And it was supposed to be somebody else that got canceled. Now we got Cody Durden. Now I'm going to tell you something about this fight. I know a lot of people are super excited with Cody Durden. A lot of people are jumping on him. A lot of people think he's going to, just completely wash Schnell. And I am picking him here. I'll let you know that I am picking him, but I also do think it's a very dangerous fight for him. The thing with Schnell is the first thing you think of when you think of Matt Schnell is you think about his chin, right? Every time we bring him up. What about Matt Schnell? His chin is gone. And it's true. His chin is his biggest liability. But the fact of the matter is you also need somebody that's going to test that chin, that has the ability to say, I am going to stand and strike with this guy, where Durden will stand and strike with you, but his bread and butter is made with his grappling. Like, he loves to wrestle. So you take that and put it on the flip side that Matt Schnell has an extremely slippery grappling game. We've seen him catch people in some nasty submissions from his back, from top position. He understands where he is on the mat. Don't be surprised if Durden runs into something, but, taking a shot or, when he's on top. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You're still dealing with a guy with Matt Schnell that if anybody touches his chin and tests it, they're going to rock him. So that's in Durden's favor, and that would probably be in his best interest, I would be honest with you. Even though Durden is a very good wrestler, this is a guy who likes to push a pace. If you're looking from outside of a DraftKings standpoint, if you're looking at, like, what's your best path to win, stand and bang with this guy. You know you have a chin. You know you got conditioning. Put some leather on him. See how he reacts. If all else fails and all of a sudden he grows a beard overnight, then you take him down. Then you could utilize your wrestling. Be careful taking him down, but then you can kind of ground him, get your position, before submission, or just hold your position and cause damage there. But if Durden comes in and he just wrestles out of the gate and shooting out of the gate, it could be dangerous. So I would be careful with this fight. I would be careful with this fight. I am going to pick Durden here, but his style does kind of play into the hands of Matt Schnell a little bit. So just be careful with that fight, but official pick's going to be Durden. I'll say Durden inside the distance. Next one, and the last one that we're going to do before we jump into Mackenzie's dog pick of the I keep calling it dog pick of the week. Lock pick of the week, and then we'll get out of here. Is Trevor Peek and Ash Moose. Listen, I told you guys from Jump Street that this kid was horrendous. I mean, Trevor Peek is not a good fighter. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I said it from when he came into the UFC. People were all over this kid. Trevor Peek fight week. Trevor Peek. DraftKings. Trevor Peek. And I pushed my subscribers nonstop to not roster this kid. And it's worked out. The kid's got no technical. The one thing I will say about Trevor Peek is this. If you are in a bar fight, you want Trevor Peek next to you. That's what I will say. I will give him that much. If you are in a bar fight, if you're with a bunch of your friends and you got to get into a bar fight, he's not a guy that you want on the other side. He's a guy you want on your side. But as far as the technical ability in the cage, the guy is not good. I mean, have you seen, just watch him throw punches. When he throws his punches and he runs out of combination, he starts back fisting, he starts back slapping. He wins his fights on dogness and durability. That's how he wins his fights. He says, like, I'm gonna drag you into a cave. I'm gonna make you fight my fight, and we're gonna see who comes out and sees daylight. And when you get a guy like Trevor Peek, 9 out of 10 times, like, that guy's gonna walk out. Like, if you're gonna get into that kind of fight with him, he's gonna walk out. He's gonna take more damage than you. He's gonna push forward. He doesn't care about his brain cell. He cares about nothing. This kid just goes in there like a gladiator with no skill behind him at all, and he wins fights and brawls. He's almost like a modern day Tank Abbott in a way. I mean, let's be real. I mean, just in better shape and smaller. He's fighting a guy in Ashmoose who, is just a better fighter. He is a better fighter. The problem I do have with Ashmoose in this fight is that he will be willing to engage in a pocket fight, in a phone booth fight with Peek. He will be. He's done it before. And that will be a complete dismantling of him, I think. I don't think he will be able to withstand a phone booth affair with this guy. But if he utilizes his wrestling, if he utilizes his actual technique, his well-rounded ability in MMA, enters the pocket when he needs to, gets out when he needs to, sting Trevor Peek, get away, confuse him, make him get reckless, throw those stupid backhands and stuff like that. But just don't get enticed into this barroom brawl with this kid. You can beat him. Anybody can beat him. Anybody with good technical ability that doesn't get sucked into this barroom style brawl with him can absolutely beat him. So I'm going to go with Ashmoose here. I'm going to say Ashmoose wins this fight. I don't know if he finishes him, just for the mere fact that Trevor Peek is, I mean, this dude is durable. I mean, it's insane some of the punishment I've seen this kid take, and he just keeps walking forward and walking forward and walking forward. So Ashmoose does have the power. He does have the ability to finish him, but in order to do that, he might have to enter the pocket with him. And I don't know if that's a good idea. I know if he rocks Peek, he's probably going to want to be that guy. To finish him, but it's a dangerous game. Like, you got to pick and choose your spots with Peek. You don't want to, get caught into that tornado, because if you do, chances are this kid's going to walk out. This kid's going to walk out and you're not. So I'm going to go Ashmoose, and I'll go Ashmoose by decision. And that'll be it. Now we're going to go to Mackenzie's dog pick of the week. Fuck, I keep saying dog pick. Why do I keep saying fucking dog pick? Mackenzie's lock pick of the week.
I'll keep this one short, boys and girls. Trevor Peek is not a good fighter. He has a cast iron chin, and honestly, if you're looking for somebody to have your back in a bar fight, Peek is a guy that would be a first ballot pick. However, this is not street fighting. Ashmouse has shown the ability to be more technical and also slow down the fight with his wrestling. If he can avoid a nasty exchange, I'll give you a dog pick of the week this week. Give me Ashmouse at plus 105.
All right. And, guys, that's it. So I will talk to you guys week 1 football. Don't forget, madlabmma.com. You're getting MMA and you're getting football for free. I mean, it's just retarded to not come down and at least try it for a month. The madlabmma.com, and I will talk to you guys next week.